Hi, today Neela and Marcy and myself we're here to talk about Electrify because people have questions about implementation, what it does, and so on and so forth. So they are going to ask me questions and I will answer to the best of my ability. So, hi guys.
Hey, Carrie. I'm really curious. What are all of the uses for Electrify? Like, what are all the things that you do with Electrify that help harmonize and benefit?
Quite a few things. Um, Originally, it was in reaction to the smart meter fiasco that we had in British Columbia and is excuse me all over the world actually people having smart meters put onto them. So that was the original intent for it. And but it has other uses, but not quite as wide ranging as that you find with Aquify. So it is more specific to electricity. So essentially what it's going to do is it's going to harmonize your home. So if you put it on your breaker panel, it's going to harmonize your home. But what it'll also do is it'll harmonize people's homes around you who are on the same transformer as you. In a lot of places, the transformers look like buckets that are up on the pole out in a laneway or on the roadside, that type of thing with the wires going to them. So those are the transformers, and what they do is they step the power down from like 440 volts down to 220, and then it comes into your house, and then it's split into 220 volts and 110 volts. So so we're not blowing things up. And well, what it'll do is it'll actually harmonize everybody's house who's on that transformer. Originally, I was hoping to be able to harmonize all the way back to the source of the power, so which would be in our case in British Columbia would be the dams, the hydroelectric dams. But I wasn't really aware of the transformer thing yet. And what the transformers do is they isolate pockets of houses so that if something goes wrong in my house, then that blows the transformer, then it'll affect the other people who are on the same transformer, but the guy down the street's going to be fine. So they just separate things out just to make it easier to keep things into control. And I do a lot of things. Principally, it's to go onto people's breaker panels, and then what it's going to do is it's going to harmonize everything that's in your house, so you don't have to put a device on everything that you own. So a lot of people, or some companies, I should say, what it is, you have to buy one for your television. You have to buy one for your computer. You have to buy one for your TV. You have to buy one for all these different things. So I wanted kind of an all-encompassing thing, and so it will harmonize anything that's connected to the power in your house, and even so, it'll also harmonize your Wi-Fi. And if you have Wi-Fi, not everybody does, but it'll also harmonize your Wi-Fi. And then whatever connects to the Wi-Fi will also be harmonized. So if you have a cellular phone that's not harmonized and you come to my house and use my Wi-Fi or somebody else's house that has an Electrify on their house, then your phone it will be harmonized as long as you're connected to that Wi-Fi. So it's got tentacles, if you will. And so but I've also put them into hotels and places where I stay. So if I come and visit you at your house, I'm going to bring some with me to make sure that your house is harmonized while I'm staying there. And it's the same with the hotel. And originally, I was just thinking that it would harmonize the room that I'm in at a hotel. But then in 2017, I was in New York City, and I thought, well, if I can harmonize other people's houses through my house, maybe also I'm harmonizing more than my room in the hotel. So I've got a cat here. She's a little sweetheart. Um,
Oh,
yeah, she really likes the good vibes in the house. Um,
mm.
so So I went in and I checked out in the hallway. So my room was harmonized. Everything in my room was harmonized. I was happy about that. And then I went and checked out in the hallway. I looked at the lights and I tested them. They were also harmonized. And I thought, well, that's interesting. So then I went down to the lobby and I tested the lobby, and the lobby was all harmonized. And I thought, this is fantastic. And a friend of mine was on another floor, and I went and tested her room, and it was all harmonized. And so then I went, wow, this is incredible. The whole building is harmonized, and this is a 22-story hotel, and it was built. Well, it opened in 1919. And it was one of the original, or one of the first hotels that had electricity. And at the time, it was the biggest hotel in the world. It's called the um, Hotel Pennsylvania. It's in Madison Square in New York City. So that was very exciting. And then one of the things that I experienced there, which really fascinated me, is I can kind of see things that are harmonized and aren't harmonized just because I've been doing this for quite a long time. And I noticed historical pictures on the walls, and I looked at them and I went, the lights in those pictures are harmonized. And I mean, how can that be? That picture is from 1919. How can that possibly be? And so I was really quite, I just couldn't understand how that was working. And I thought, well, I must be making a mistake. But then what happened at this hotel, they used to uh, they had venues there. So it was more than just a hotel where you go and stay. They also had like ballrooms and things like that. And there was a particular venue called the Café Rouge. And they used to have big bands, swing bands, people like Artie Shaw and Benny Goodman, and those big bands would be there to entertain the guests and so on. And they used to do recordings. And one of the things that I know from doing this is that when you record something, so whether it's a film or a photograph or music, anything like that, even this recording here will be harmonized. And so if somebody who's watching this, say in Spain, if they understand my English all right, they will actually be being harmonized by the video while it's playing. And so, sorry, I've got these notifications are going on. I have to turn this off. Sorry. So I was curious about these recordings and knowing that they could possibly be harmonized. And so I went and I found an Artie Shaw recording from 1939, and I tested it. And there's a certain frequency which I've spoken about before, which we call BG3, and it's the that stands for biogeometry 3. And those three frequencies are the higher harmonic of gold, the higher harmonic of ultraviolet, and another frequency which I've spoken about was horizontal negative green, which is a healing frequency. And so when I tested this recording from 1939, it had BG3 in it, and there's only one way that that got in there, which is if the source was harmonized when it was recorded. And since I hadn't put anything on there in 1939, and I know nobody else did either, what I realized is that this had actually worked backwards in time, which was really, really fascinating to me. Now, we can't physically travel back and forth in time, but we can affect the past and we can also affect the future. For instance, I have this dial here and it's set to a certain angle. And if I put that on top of something and turn it to the left 3 times, in a few minutes, so into the future, BG3 will show up. And so I can find something that has no BG3 in it. For instance, um, there's not much that doesn't have BG3 in my house. So uh, everything has BG3. My house is all harmonized. Anyhow, so that was kind of fascinating that it worked backwards in time. And so what I realized from that is that everybody who's ever lived in this house has benefited from what's on here now. And I know that sounds very strange, but that's the way it is. Um, Other things that I've done with it. So I do a lot of guerrilla, what I call guerrilla work, as in guerrilla. And so my son's schools, the schools that my son has gone to, um, with permission of the teachers, I managed to put them into the schools. And so that the school is all harmonized. And And as I said, hotels, hospitals, if I go to visit somebody in a hospital, I'll put one into the hospital to harmonize the hospital because everybody needs more healing energy and less of the negative frequencies that we get from EMFs. And another thing that I have done with it is a few years ago, I managed to put one onto a navigational radar site. And what I discovered from that is that all the ships and aircraft in the world that have radar, as long as they're powered up and they're running and their radar is turned on, all of those ships and aircraft are also being harmonized, which is really, really fascinating. And I wasn't sure at first, but I was at a biogeometry conference last year. And so I had other people who are more accomplished than I am test aircraft that were going by. And it was in Florida, so we could see ships going by as well. And they were all harmonized. So it has this kind of a quantum entanglement effect, and it goes way beyond our own homes. So I think that's kind of it.
Perfect.